Welcome to Blueprint Narratives, the official channel of indiaartanddesign.com, exploring the intricate layers behind architectural and design projects, one story at a time. Whether it's groundbreaking projects, innovative designs, or artistic expressions, each episode uncovers the depth of thought and craftsmanship behind these creations. Over to our aesthete crew, who will take this conversation forward.
Welcome back to Blueprint Narratives, the official podcast channel for indiaartanddesign.com. You're joining us for episode 07, and today we're diving deep into the world of Pachedi, which is a really unique Kalamkari art form from Gujarat. This deep dive is inspired by an article on indiaartanddesign.com called Pachedi, the Kalamkari of Gujarat by Shruti Chauhan. What really stood out to me was how this art form is so connected to social history.
Yeah, it's really interesting how art can be a reflection of a community's experiences, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So let's go back about 300 years.
Yeah.
The article talks about how the Vaghri community was excluded from temples. Can you imagine being denied access to a place of worship, a place so central to your faith and your community?
It's a powerful reminder of the social inequalities that existed, and sadly, still persist in many forms. To be denied something so fundamental speaks volumes about the challenges faced by marginalized communities.
Yeah, and it's out of this exclusion that Pachedi was born. Instead of accepting this injustice, they created their own shrines, their own spaces for spiritual expression.
Exactly. And those shrines needed backdrops, which led to the creation of these painted cloths, the Pachedi, meaning behind the mother goddess. Initially, they used simple materials, like sindoor and coal, to depict the mother goddess and their stories.
So in a way, this art form emerged from a place of resilience, a refusal to be silenced. It's like they took this act of exclusion and turned it into a powerful statement of faith and identity.
Precisely. And what's even more remarkable is how this art form, born out of such adversity, has evolved over time. It's not just about simple red and black imagery anymore. Think about the intricate details, the different forms of the mother goddess, the vahanas, or vehicles she's depicted with, tigers, boars, and more. It's a whole visual language they developed.
It's amazing how something so deeply rooted in tradition can also be so dynamic. And speaking of tradition, the process itself seems almost ritualistic. The article mentions treating the cloth with, cow dung, castor oil, myrobalan.
Each step is steeped in tradition and meaning. And it's not just about the materials. Think about the tools they used. Bamboo pens, dyes made from rusted iron. It speaks volumes about their resourcefulness and ingenuity. They even washed the finished cloths in the river to remove excess dye.
You know, for our listeners who might not be familiar with Kalamkari, can you explain what makes this art form so unique? What sets it apart from other painting styles?
Of course, Kalamkari, which translates to penwork, is a traditional Indian art form characterized by its use of natural dyes and hand-painted, or block-printed designs. It's an ancient technique. And Pachedi is a distinct style within Kalamkari, primarily practiced by the Vaghri community. What sets it apart is its religious significance, specific iconography, and the fact that it's traditionally done on cloth.
So it's a beautiful blend of artistry and storytelling. Each piece is like a window into their beliefs and their world. And what's particularly fascinating is how those designs become even more elaborate. During festivals like Navratri, I can only imagine the time and skill it takes to create those intricate details.
Imagine the scenes during Navratri, families coming together, sharing stories, and creating these vibrant pieces dedicated to the mother goddess. It's not just an art form, it's a living tradition, a way of life. It beautifully highlights the intergenerational transmission of knowledge and the importance of community in preserving cultural heritage. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And it's remarkable how this art form, born out of necessity centuries ago, is still thriving today. And that brings us to contemporary artists like Dilip Chitara. He's taking this ancient art form and giving it a new life, creating sarees, wall pieces, even masks.
And what's crucial here is that he's not simply replicating the old forms, he's reimagining them, adapting them to a modern context, while staying true to the traditional techniques and natural dyes.
So he's essentially bridging the gap between tradition and innovation. Now, that's what I find truly fascinating. How do you maintain the essence of something so deeply rooted in the past while making it relevant for today's audiences? It's a delicate balance, wouldn't you say?
It certainly is, and I think Dilip Chitara's work is a testament to that balance. He's using his platform to raise awareness, about this unique art form and its cultural significance. It's not just about creating beautiful objects, it's about preserving a legacy.
Not just preserving it, but also empowering the community. That created it. I read that Dilip actively involves women from his village in the process, providing them with a livelihood and ensuring the continuation of this art form. That's quite impactful.
Yes, it's a wonderful example of how art can be a catalyst for social change and economic empowerment. He's not just an artist, he's a community leader, a preserver of tradition, and a champion for women's empowerment. It's truly inspiring.
It certainly is. And, you know, what strikes me is how Matani Pachedi represents more than just art. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the power of creativity, and the enduring strength of community. It's a story that deserves to be told, a tradition that deserves to be celebrated.
I couldn't agree more. It's a reminder that art has the power to transcend boundaries, to connect us to our past, and to inspire us to create a more just and beautiful world. And it's fascinating how that story unfolds through the visual language of Matani Pachedi. Each element, from the colors to the motifs, has a deeper meaning, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like a visual tapestry, woven with symbolism. Take the colors, for instance, red and black, were the original colors used, representing the duality of life and death, creation and destruction.
Yeah.
But as the art form evolved, so did its palette. What do you make of that?
I think it speaks to the adaptability and dynamism of tradition. The introduction of new colors, while staying true to the natural dyes, allowed for a richer, more nuanced expression. And it also reflects how art evolves alongside the communities that create it.
That's a great point. It's not a static thing, frozen in time. It's a living, breathing tradition that responds to the changing world around it.
Yeah.
And speaking of change, let's talk about how Dilip Chitara is adapting this art form for the modern world. We touched upon it earlier, but I'd love to delve deeper into the challenges and triumphs of bringing an ancient tradition into a contemporary context. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a delicate dance, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the one hand, you have the weight of tradition, the centuries-old techniques and materials that define the art form. And on the other hand, you have the need to innovate, to find new ways to engage audiences and ensure the art form's survival in a rapidly changing world.
Exactly. So how does Dilip Chitara navigate this? The article mentions that he's creating sarees, wall pieces, masks, all while adhering to the traditional techniques and natural dyes. How does he make those choices? What are the factors he considers? When deciding how to adapt the art form,
I think it's a combination of deep respect for tradition and a keen understanding of contemporary aesthetics, for example. Choosing to create sarees is a brilliant way to connect with a wider audience. Sarees are an integral part of Indian culture. And by incorporating Matani Pachedi designs, he's essentially weaving tradition into everyday life.
it's like he's finding new canvases for an ancient art form, and by using natural dyes, he's ensuring that the essence of the tradition remains intact. But wouldn't you say there's a risk of diluting the art form by adapting it to different mediums? How does he strike that balance between honoring the past and embracing the present?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's no easy answer, but I think Dilip Chitara's approach is commendable. He's not simply mass-producing souvenirs. He's creating pieces that are both beautiful and meaningful. He's not compromising on quality or craftsmanship. And by involving the local community, particularly women, he's ensuring that the knowledge and skills are passed down to future generations.
That's an important point. It's not just about the art itself. It's about the people who create it.
Yeah.
By empowering women, he's not only preserving a cultural heritage, but also contributing to social and economic upliftment. That's a powerful legacy to leave behind.
Absolutely. And it's a testament to the transformative power of art. It's not just a decorative element. It's a force for change, a means of expression, a way to connect with our roots and inspire future generations.
So what do you think is the key takeaway for our listeners? What's the one thing you hope they'll remember from this deep dive into Matani Pachedi?
For me, it's the understanding that tradition and innovation are not mutually exclusive. They can coexist, complement each other, and create something truly special, Matani Pachedi. It's a perfect example of that. It's an ancient art form that continues to evolve and thrive in the 21st century. And that's a testament to the power of human creativity and the enduring spirit of tradition.
Beautifully said. It's a reminder that even in a rapidly changing world, there's always room for the stories of the past, for the beauty of tradition, and for the power of art to connect us all. As we've been talking about this art form, I keep thinking about how much goes into each piece. It's not just the technical skill, but the knowledge of those natural dyes and the understanding of the symbolism, the stories that are passed down through generations. It's a whole cultural legacy woven into every thread.
It is fascinating how something so simple as cloth and dye can become a vessel for so much history, belief, and artistic expression.
Yeah, and it makes me think about how these traditions survive. I mean, think about the world 300 years ago, when Matani Pachedi first emerged. And the world today, so much has changed, yet this art form is still here. Why do you think that is?
I think it speaks to a deep human need to connect with something larger than ourselves, whether it's through spirituality, community, or art. These traditions, they offer a sense of continuity, a link to our past, and a way to make meaning of the present.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And in a world that's constantly changing, maybe that connection to something timeless is even more important. But it's not just about passively preserving the past, is it? It's about finding ways to make it relevant for today's world.
Exactly. And that's where artists like Dilip Chitara come in. They're not just custodians of tradition, they're innovators, finding creative ways to bridge that gap between the past and the present.
And it sounds like he's doing that on multiple levels, through the art itself, by empowering the community, and by sharing this art form with a wider audience. He's really ensuring that this tradition has a future.
He is. And that's a powerful reminder that tradition doesn't have to be static. It can evolve, adapt, and find new life in unexpected ways.
This has been a truly eye-opening deep dive for me, and I hope our listeners feel the same way. It's a story of resilience, creativity, and the enduring power of art to connect us all.
And for those who want to explore further, I highly recommend checking out the article that inspired this conversation, Mata Pachedi, the Kalamkari of Gujarat, by Shruti Chauhan, on indiaartanddesign.com.
Yes, it's a beautifully written piece with stunning visuals that will give you a deeper appreciation for this incredible art form. We'll be sure to include the link in the show notes. So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought. What other hidden gems of art and culture are out there waiting to be discovered?
What stories are waiting to be told? What traditions are waiting to be shared? Go out there, explore, and let yourself be amazed by the richness and diversity of human creativity.
Beautifully said. And until next time, this has been Blueprint Narratives. Thanks for joining us.
And that's a wrap. We truly appreciate you joining us on this creative journey at Blueprint Narratives. If you enjoyed today's episode, do share it with fellow design lovers, and let's keep the conversation going. For more inspiring stories and design insights, check out indiaartanddesign.com. Until next time, stay inspired and keep shaping the world with design.